And we're back with WSJ Lunch Break. I'm Wendy Bounds. Why do so many country singers now want to sound like, well, Bruce Springsteen? I'm not sure, but we're going to talk right now with Don Steinberg, who's been reporting on this. He's joining us on the phone from Philadelphia. Hey, Don.
Hey, Wendy, how y'all doing?
Nice channeling of that. I can see your y'all and up you a y'all. I'm from North Carolina, so we'll work on that throughout this segment. But I want to know in particular, these country singers, name some of the sounds that they're sort of going after on the rock scene. Talk about some of the partnerships here.
Well, you know, if those of us who grew up listening to the Eagles and Tom Petty, Springsteen, Bob Seger, all these bands that were kind of the soundtrack of our lives in the 70s or 80s or whenever, it's kind of the same music that today's country singers are listening to. So it's now becoming part of country music.
So let's talk about some of the specific country singers and some of their songs that have a rock tone. Britt, walk us through a couple of them.
Well, you know, you can listen to, there's a song that a country singer named Randy Houser has, and when it starts, you swear it's going to be Highway to Hell by AC/DC, and then it kind of veers down to a country road instead of the Highway to Hell. But there's other songs that sound a lot like Tom Petty. There's a song that sounds just like it's going to be Aerosmith, Dude Looks Like a Lady. And there's all these rock riffs that have sort of infused today's country. And my idea was that for those of us who grew up listening to that stuff, you know, today's rock bands aren't making those sounds anymore, but we might find it on the country channels.
On country channels. Why is this happening? I mean, is it that some of these country singers grew up in rural areas that just weren't as isolated as they used to be, and they heard a lot more rock, a lot more concerts came their way, and it just infused into their sort of creative thinking as they were growing up?
Yeah, sure. The idea that there's these two separate worlds is kind of gone. I mean, if you grew up in a small town in North Carolina like Eric Church did, who did a song over the summer called Springsteen, which is about listening to Springsteen as a teenager. He said he grew up listening to country music, but also Leonard Skinner and Petty and John Mellencamp and Springsteen and Billy Joel and Michael Jackson and Metallica. And so, you know, everyone's listening to everything, and especially now with the internet and satellite radio, there's not really kind of a country where there's only country.
Right. So is there a backlash to this at all, Don? I mean, and do people feel any pressure to, at least with their lyrics, to throw in a dog riding in the back of the pickup truck and they got their feet kicked up and they're drinking a yoo-hoo and whatever you might have it, just to make sure that people think this is truly country even though I've got a rock sound?
Yeah, you know, partly with the sound, there's country instruments, there's fiddles and steel guitars still in these songs, but yeah, the lyrics are, you know, I got my dog driving down a dirt road, you know, beers in the tailgate, and you know, Ronnie Dunn from the great duo Brooks and Dunn said that they call the combination of rock and country, they call it Jed Zeppelin.
Jed Zeppelin. That's pretty good. I like that. That could work.
Right.
You know, but I mean, look, this crossover between country and rock, I mean, it really shouldn't be that shocking. I mean, didn't they sort of come together, you know, I mean, when rhythm and blues sort of married with country and western and then had rock as a baby, sort of?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's hard to say which influenced which, but country kind of influenced country and met with R&B and black music, white music, all kind of fused together. And, you know, Chuck Berry and Elvis Presley and Buddy Holly and those guys were mixing everything together. So, I mean, Jerry Lee Lewis, that kind of stuff.